You're here because you want to know, are heat pumps really worth it? Do they actually work in cold temperatures? Do they cost a fortune to run? Are they the future of heating your home? Well, in today's video, we're going to dive deep into everything heat pumps. And because I'm not a heat pump expert, we've brought one with us to tell you all about them. And make sure you watch to the end of the video where we're going to look at the heat pump in my own house that I've just moved into and figure out whether it's going to cost me a fortune or not.
Yeah, I think we've already found something. This is going to get mouldy. Whoa! I should not feel this much radiation. That should be insulated. Yeah, this isn't the best insulation so far.
Looks like we've got a bodged heat pump install. Today's video is sponsored by iwoca. More about that later. Let me introduce you to Adam from Heat Geek.
Hi guys, how you doing?
So, me and Adam, we've been chatting for a while about heat pumps. I've been picking his brains quite a lot, but I decided let's share a lot of that knowledge with you guys today. So first of all, my biggest question is, let's go right to the basics. What actually is a heat pump and how does it work?
So a heat pump is anything that essentially uses the vapor compression cycle, which sounds really complicated, but it's incredibly simple. You have two of these already in your home, your fridge and your freezer, is most commonly said. And all as it's doing is using the process and the relationship of pressure and temperature. So if you take any gas and compress it, it gets hot. If you expand it, it gets cold. And it's just doing that. It's compressing a gas on the inside to make it hot, make your radiators hot, make your hot water hot, sending it back outside, expanding it, which makes it super cold and colder than the air temperature, for example, so it can absorb energy, and then sending it back and going round and round in a circle.
Okay, so you've blinded me with science a little bit there, but I think I get a picture.
Yeah.
It's a bit like the back of your fridge gets hot because it's sucking the heat out of the fridge and it makes it cold in the fridge and hot.
It's compressed, exactly that. So it's expanded the gas inside the fridge, so it's going to absorb the heat energy, and it's compressed it on the outside of the fridge on those coils, so you feel the heat coming off the back.
Cool.
And our heat pump is typically just doing the opposite of that, just trying to cool down the outside
heat out of the air.
Trying to cool down the entire world to warm up your tiny little home.
Perfect. Okay. So if you want to get a heat pump, what's the first thing that you need to do?
So once you've found like a good engineer, the very first thing that you have to do to enable a successful installation, because they can go south obviously if they're not done right, is to measure what you actually need, so what your requirements are. And what that means is measuring your heat load or calculating your heat load. And for that, we essentially or an engineer will go into your home, they'll measure all of your walls, all of your windows individually, and they'll calculate how much heat that will theoretically lose when it's, say, -2, -3 outside in the depth of winter. And from there, we can size your heat pump to make sure we don't undersize it, which would mean you'd be cold. That's very rare. Or more importantly, and much more often, we don't oversize it, because that actually drives down efficiency if it's oversized too much. And costs too much to buy, and you've got more obstruction around the house. Lots of reasons not to oversize a unit. And from there, you also do one really important thing, which is really important for you to make sure that you get a payback on your heat pump, which is it shows you what size emitters or radiators you need in the house. That relationship between your radiator sizing and the demand of heat in your house is what dictates if this unit is going to pay back cost neutral with a boiler, or literally cost more each year. And so if you don't get this right, you're already going to go south.
If you run a small or medium-sized business, you'll know that cash flow can make or break you. That's where iwoca comes in. iwoca is a UK-based fintech that helps small and medium-sized businesses bridge those gaps fast and grab growth opportunities. They've already funded 100,000 businesses with flexible loans from £1,000 all the way up to £1 million, with terms anywhere from 1 day up to 5 years. While traditional banks can take weeks or even months, with iwoca they can make fast decisions up to 25k, and for larger loans you'll usually find out whether you're approved within a few days. 91% of customers get approved on the same day, and the funds arrive almost instantly. The best part is you only pay interest on what you actually use for as long as you use it. And there are no early repayment fees. And what's more, every single customer gets their own dedicated account manager who actually answers the phone. So whether it's covering short-term cash flow gap, buying stock, or scaling your business, iwoca helps hardworking entrepreneurs grow their business fast, flexible, and fair. Find out more using the link below. So for a house like this, is quite old. I think it's over 100 years old. I know that well, for all houses, you guys have got this really cool like app thing with a LiDAR scanner and stuff.
Yeah, so that was actually a world first at the time.
Yeah.
It's Apple technology, the LiDAR bit, but to put it with a heat loss application, that was, we were world first. So we can whiz in and out in way quicker time than, I mean, if you're going to do this by paper, which is how I learned in an apprenticeship, a house this size would take 3/4 of a day, then you've got to do the design, which would take another day. You'd probably be 3 days all in if you're going to do the complete design with all the radiators.
Yeah.
This condenses that down to an hour's scanning, and then we literally have a slider which sizes your radiators for you depending on what efficiency you want to choose and how much payback you want. So it's pretty much instantly on site.
Yeah, and I managed to get my hands on that for a very large ancient property in Bordeaux, and I went round and scanned the whole house, and it was actually really cool and super fun. So it does work. Now, one thing I hear a lot from people is heat pumps don't work in old houses, they're not efficient, they cost a fortune to run. And to be honest, I've seen loads of bad heat pump installs over the years where customers have called us out to look at their solar and actually like the heat pump was just bodged in as well. So how would you answer that, Mr. Heat Geek?
I mean, you said it, you've seen bad heat pump installs. A lot of this stuff you hear is that heat pumps don't work, they don't work in old houses. Completely untrue. Bad installations don't work.
Yeah.
A good installation will work in any age building. I think this is 1890 build or something like that. This has had insulation done though, so not the best test case. They will literally work in any building provided you have double glazing. That's it. That's the only prerequisite. You don't need wall insulation. I'm not saying not to have it.
Yeah.
I'm saying they'll work in any home. Okay. But the way to make it work properly is to install it well, and the only way you're going to do that is to find a creditable, knowledgeable heating engineer. We've got sort of videos on what to ask people when they first come out if they're going to get a quote to pick it. If this person is just trying to sell something, or if they're really into the engineering. If they're really into the engineering, you know, you've got someone that's going to be geeky and make sure they get a good outcome. So the most important thing behind all of this is to find a good engineer. Fail at this point, and the whole thing just literally isn't worth it.
Is there anything that's like really obvious that, for example, you go and you just glance at heat pump install, you know straight away that it's a bodge? What are the classic sort of bodges?
Immediately, the first thing you'll look at is bad insulation on the pipework. Generally, if they put the effort to go out their way to make sure it's level and square, then they're going to put the effort in the rest of the installation as a general rule.
Attention to detail.
Yeah.
Now, as far as I understand it, there are two different types of heat pumps: air source and ground source. Is that right?
There's one type of, I'm going to give you the technical answer.
Okay, yeah.
There's one type of heat pump, which is something that moves heat from A to B using this compression thing.
Yeah.
There's many different heat sources.
From my experience, I see most people have an air source heat pump.
Yeah, so historically, ground source heat pumps were the bomb. They would get the highest efficiencies, like everyone would go for ground source. Recent innovations, specifically R290 refrigerant gas, that's propane, that's the gas that we're compressing and expanding. That's now come to air source heat pumps in the last sort of 5 years, and it's made them like comparable to ground source. Ground source is really expensive. Yeah. You're talking tens and tens of thousands.
Okay, so ground source, if you've got a massive garden, a huge amount of space that you need to heat and a lot of money. Yeah. Otherwise, air source seems like a no-brainer for most people.
Yeah.
So obviously at this property, the customer's got solar. They've got a lot of solar.
Yeah.
And for us as solar installers, this is why we often see heat pump and solar paired together. It's a logical pairing, right?
Yes.
Free energy from the sun, heat your house with it, amazing. But the question I have in my mind is it worth to have a heat pump, or can you have a heat pump if you don't have solar?
So to make a heat pump pay back without solar is pretty easy. If you simply switch to many of the heat pump tariffs out there, or any of the flexible tariffs, you'll be saving potentially hundreds immediately off the bat without solar. Yeah. Solar just adds to it. To answer your question bluntly, no, you don't need solar for a heat pump at all. But yes, it is advantageous.
Yeah, and we quite often see now customers who don't have solar, but they do have battery storage, charging the batteries on the cheap rate and then using those to run the heat pump and saving energy that way, or saving cost that way.
Exactly. The way I look at this whole thing is more like energy independence from the grid. So if you've got a gas boiler, you're relying on Putin's gas, whether you like it or not. And you don't know what he's going to do tomorrow. So once you get electrified, get the gas turned off, then you're independent, and then you can start looking at self-generation, however you do that, and or storage.
And a lot of our customers aren't able to fit solar for whatever reason, but they can get a battery.
Exactly.
So that really helps to combine everything together, but ultimately you don't even need solar or battery. It's still worth it to get a heat pump.
Absolutely, yeah.
So the question I've got is, if I'm a customer, I want to get a heat pump, can I choose where it goes? Because they are big, sort of ugly blocks most of the time. I don't want it like as like an eyesore on the outside of my house. How do we decide where it goes, and do I have much choice over that?
First of all, this is like a huge heat pump. Like most heat pumps don't need to be this big. This is a 16 kilowatt. They can be under half this size. Yes, you can choose where you put it, but there are some restrictions. The further away you put it from your boiler or cylinder, the more you're going to spend on external run of pipe and extra pipe work. So going to cost more.
So we're here in front of this big, beautiful cylinder. Does that mean I need to change my whole tank if I need to get a heat pump?
Generally speaking, no, actually, contrary to popular belief.
Okay.
If you want the highest efficiency, this is the most high efficiency unit you can get, designed by us, Heat Geek, and made by 𝐼𝐻𝐾. Your current one, probably, I'm going to say, will work. But the efficiency won't be up there. It will be like between 2.5%, 350%.
Okay.
So no, you don't have to replace it. It depends what you want from your payback, etc.
Now it seems like there's an incredible amount of gubbins here for this heat pump system. So like, what are these blue things, for example?
Right, so they're expansion vessels. You do need those. Some heat pumps have an expansion vessel in them. That other one is for the hot water. That is a particularly large unit. Like I said, that's a 16 kilowatt unit.
Yeah.
It needs more stuff installed. Plus, this homeowner likes all the extra bits to make it tip-top efficiency. This is a de-aerator here. You don't need those, but they are good to have. Which means you don't need this or any of this stuff really. Maybe just the expansion vessel and a tank. This is even a particularly big tank for the large house. So I wouldn't really expect any more than you have in a typical house with a tank at all. In fact, there's probably less, because we're probably going to be removing your cold water tank from your loft and gaining your loft space back.
Oh, nice. That's an added bonus.
There's many more.
So this is the bit that I'm really interested in, the mains electrics side of things. So we've got a 3-phase supply here at this property, 3-phase distribution boards, customers got Tesla batteries and solar and a Rayco system. There's loads of cool stuff here. But from like a purely electrical requirements for heat pumps, like what are we talking? How much does a customer need to get their main cutout fuse upgraded, for example? Do we need to do like a G99 application, all of that stuff?
So no G99.
Yeah.
Really, all we need to do is the max demand calculation and add the additional capacity for the heat pump. Remember, that's not the whole power of the heat pump. So this is a 16 kilowatt heat pump. Really, the draw is only going to be like 4 kilowatts. You probably, for the calculation, you do it for worst case. So maybe you'd allow 8 kilowatts or something like that. So it's nowhere near as much draw as other, say, a car charger or whatever else, if you've got a larger car charger, as they will do here. And I suppose the only other thing to be aware of is what else are you going to put in. So if you've already got car chargers there, fine, see if it fits inside your cutout fuse rating. If it doesn't fit inside your cutout fuse rating, you'll need to upgrade that. So
unlike solar, you don't need to do a G98 or G99 application to connect the system to the grid, but you do need to notify the DNO, right?
Apply to connect or notify them afterwards so they know how much local load at the substation or whatever,
Okay, and is that easy to do? Just
it's just an online form. Your installer will do all of that for you though, a good installer will.
So, welcome Adam to my new build house.
It's lovely.
It's nice, but I can't figure out the heating here. It's always really hot in this house, but I don't know how to control the heat pump. So I want you to have a look at it and tell me if it's okay or not.
Okay.
And maybe just teach me a little bit how it all works and how to actually use the system properly.
Absolutely. Show me what you got.
Okay, so through here, so I don't know why it's got like quite a lot of moisture under it. I don't know if it's leaking or something.
Yeah, well, I think we've already found something.
Okay.
So the reason you might have wetness underneath the heat pump is because like I was saying earlier on, when you decompress the gas, it goes super cold.
Yeah.
And if you get like a super cold glass of water with loads of ice in, you know, you get water
condensation
on the outside.
Yeah.
You get condensation on the back of this because
Right.
it's got cold refrigerant in it.
Okay.
And that drips onto the floor.
Okay.
It doesn't drip normally onto the floor though. It normally goes into the condensate tube and into the soak away or away to wherever you've drained it to. This doesn't have anything like that. So,
so it looks like they've not installed it properly.
this is going to get mouldy. I mean, it may be to manufacturer instructions because the instructors might not said to pipe it anywhere, but really it should be collected in a condensate tray and then routed to a gully or something like that. So yeah. Oh, and while we're here, this isn't good, is it?
Oh,
you know, I said the number one telltale sign of a good job.
They've missed the elbow joint on the pipe lagging.
Yeah, so all winter you've got an outside radiator. And this here, see this clip?
Yeah.
This is metal onto metal, so this clip just extracts the heat and just brings it out into the... So yeah, this should all be... The clip should go around the outside of the pipe. It's not a great start, mate, sorry.
So I'm only renting this house, so I'm not so disappointed. But a lot of my neighbours have bought them. And I might send this video to them and then they can contact the builders and do some snagging on these systems afterwards.
They're going to love that, mate. They'll really appreciate it.
Okay.
But, you know, the rest of the job might be fine. So,
okay, shall we have a look inside at the...
looks
I've
good.
got like a little mini plant room, which is quite exciting. Let me show you that.
Let's have a look.
Welcome to the mini plant room. And it's very warm in here. It's very cosy.
This is... I should not feel this much radiation coming from, you know, when we were at that cylinder earlier on.
Oh yeah, there was no heat coming off the cylinder at all there. Yeah, it is very warm in here.
I can feel it radiating from here.
Okay.
Like on the underside of my face.
Yeah,
I don't know if I may be extra sensitive to it from almost.
No, I mean it is really hot.
And look, actually, you can't hold your hand on that for more than 5 seconds, I wouldn't say.
Oh wow, yeah, it's really hot.
And so if heat pumps are producing heat at that temperature, they're not going to be efficient. If something's hot, that should be insulated.
Yeah, and
that's just radiating into the cupboard.
They've just glued this on, but there's a massive gap around the side, and then they've just held it on with some cable ties.
Yeah, so we want to be keeping the heat in. That's unneedlessly heating this cupboard that you're not drying any towels in.
Yeah.
Again, insulation here. So
yeah.
I mean, like this is for insulation. Perhaps inside the building is forgivable, but it's that first clue that how much attention to detail was paid. I would say this isn't actually piped up correctly.
Oh man.
Like you can make it run, like I'm sure it may run, but it's not like optimal. Right, now the next question is this an outside sensor? Because if it is, we've just set the weather compensation for no reason.
I can't see an outside sensor, but it might be on the front of the house. There is definitely no sensor there. Looks like we've got a bodged heat pump install.
The other thing that you noticed before I did was that the immersion heater was switched on. You generally don't need that on if you've got a heat pump. The whole idea is that heats the hot water at around, double, triple the efficiency that the immersion heater would. The piping arrangement here is absolutely insane. So that box outside has a pump that can circulate this whole house. Instead, it's pumped to here. This low loss header thing, that's an inefficient way to design a system. So it's not a great installation, I must say, but it's also very standard for these these units.
I think the builders went bust on this. It's a classic new build, you know.
Yeah, this is a classic new build setup. These almost come like pre-done pretty much. And this is the way these are installed, so it wasn't really a surprise. It's going to work. I'm going to go around and do the controls with you because there's a couple of little lessons there to get the most out of your heat pump. But yeah, this is, you're not going to be cold in the winter, and it's not going to cost a bomb.
Great.
But it could be better.
So these are the thermostats. I think we've got one in every room.
Yeah.
Are they set up right? I have no idea.
So with these, we've just lowered the flow temperature from your heat pump because we don't want to be blasting in high temperature on and off for an hour a day, 2 hours a day intermittently. We want to just run it slowly, gently. Same as driving a car, you want to run it gently and it will preserve the energy. That means setting these to pretty much always be on, but you can vary the temperature. So you can have it at 21 during the day and then perhaps upstairs drops to 19 or 20 at night or whatever.
Okay,
you want
small variation.
Small setbacks, exactly.
Okay.
But ideally you want to do these in unison together. Perhaps, 7 in the morning, whenever you get up, 21, back down at 10 o'clock to 20 or something during that. And you can have maybe a 1 degree variance between the first floor and the second floor. Yeah. Just repeat that for every controller, then you've maximised the efficiency from your heat pump. This is number one mistake that people get. You can do the best installation ever, do this bit wrong, and then you're going to get a heat pump that costs perhaps the same, perhaps more to run than your gas boiler.
Wow. So while I've got you, there's a couple of common objections that are worrying me somewhat. One is these things don't work when it's freezing cold. What would you say to that?
So, I mean, they're most popular in like Scandinavia, etc. They're designed to go down to -15, -20, which is much colder than most of the UK. So yes, these do work. If they've not worked, it's because it's not been designed and installed right.
Okay, classic. And what about my heating's all electric? That means if I've got a power cut, I've got no heating.
Yeah, like we hear this one all the time. What are we going to do if there's a power cut? Oh no. The answer is exactly the same you do as if you have a gas boiler, because if you have a power cut, your gas boiler ain't working either. So most of these come with electrical backup in case anyway, so you've now got more backup than you had before. Yeah. So yeah, you can opt to have backup. But generally, most of the UK is only down for an hour max, and the house will hold heat for that time. So I would say it's not really that much of an issue.
Okay.
In this country.
But what about the noise? This is just outside my kitchen. Is it going to be really noisy?
This is a 5 kilowatt unit, so no, they're just not noisy. And the newer models, they're always getting new fin shapes and things like this to be quieter and quieter. As you've been round today and experienced, they just don't make noise. Yeah. There's also checks we have to do, so we do noise assessments to the nearest window to make sure it's not a nuisance noise for neighbours. That's a planning thing we have to comply with before we have planning permission to put them in. So there's already checks for all these sorts of things. Your installer should take you through it, and they're not noisy anyway. So no, they're not noisy.
Okay, so this has been really eye-opening. We've visited a beautiful house with loads of solar and batteries and a massive heat pump system, which is clearly working very well for the client, but let's face it, it costs a lot of money and the client could afford it, which is great. But what about people who don't have tens of thousands of pounds to splash on a heat pump and they need to get a system installed, maybe their boiler's nearing end of life? How are they going to afford these kind of systems?
Yeah, very good point. Everyone should have to move and have the opportunity to have these things because they save a lot of money. So first of all, we have the government bus grant. Everyone is entitled to £7,500 to have one of these installed for the next 3 years or 4 years minimum, I think. So that's step one. Your installer will get you that. You don't have to do any work. It's done for you. They're still generally more expensive, but we've actually been working on this exact problem. So we've developed things like the LiDAR room scanning thing that we saw earlier. We've also been monitoring every single one of our installations that we've installed, and we've taken all that data that we've got on those homes, what they look like and what they're made of, and then put the live performance over the top, and we now know if you put in X, you will see the efficiency of Y. So to translate all of that, what that means is we've made an AI system designer called Zero Disrupt. It's called Zero Disrupt because we're going to go into your house, take out the boiler, put in a heat pump that saves money, or at least cost parity with your boiler, with the least disruption possible. That means way less radiators, way less cylinder upgrades, all that kind of stuff. So the reason I'm saying this is because the average install price for a heat pump is around £12,000 right now. Including the bus and using this system, our average install price is £3,000 because we've removed that much stuff. Sorry, a bit of self-promotion there, but this is the way all heating systems are going to be designed in the future, in my opinion, based on data from monitored homes, and allow the algorithm to do that, because this would take an engineer a year, 2 years to do each home, for all these variants for each home. One last point. There's 1.6 million boilers replaced every year. That's the reason they're so cheap. Heat pumps are down in the tens of thousands. So there's no scale there. As this scale is building up, heat pumps are increasing in sales year on year by a big factor. That price is going to stabilise, and it's going to be comparable to a gas boiler in no time at all, and also more comfortable and save you money every year. It's literally going to be the no-brainer.
Wow, well that's what we need to see, I guess. We've clearly seen that these things work if they're properly installed and the system's properly designed. That seems to have been key for me to the sort of learnings from this video, really. Get a proper good design, get a proper good quality installer who actually cares and will do a great job. And if you want to get that, if you want help with that, these guys, that's what they do, right?
So where we come from is training heating engineers to design heating systems. So we actually give away that information. You can find all of the best heat geeks in the country on our website. We give away for free. But if you just want to find out how much a heat pump is, go to our website, heatgeek.com, punch in your postcode, it will tell you how much your heat pump is going to be for you. It's an online estimate, obviously. Yeah. You need a survey for the full thing, but it's pretty accurate.
Great, so we'll leave a link below for you guys for that if you want to figure out how much it would cost for you to get a heat pump. I'm interested to see where things go. It's great to see people like Adam pushing the boundaries and trying to make this kind of tech more accessible. I'd love to hear all of your thoughts in the comments below. Let us know what you think. Is a heat pump suitable for you? Do you have one already? Is it working well? Or have you had any horror stories? Either way, we'd love to hear all of your thoughts in the comments below. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do, because there's loads more interesting content all about renewable energy of different sorts coming on the channel very soon. But either way, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.